Howdy folks, and welcome back to Rough Shell Outdoors. And something I have found over the years of shooting a lot of single action 6-guns that tie in with the Ruger, New Vaqueros, Blackhawks, is that one way to get a lot of good practice in is shooting cap and ball. Shooting cap and ball is a lot of fun, and obviously it requires a lot more cleaning, but we should be cleaning our smokeless powder 6-guns too. But today I brought out the beast, the Walker, the Colt Walker. This was actually the first cap and ball 6-gun I got because well, geez, this is what Gus carried in Lonesome Dove, and Gus is my hero. So anyway, kind of go into a little bit about more into practice, and then we'll load this thing up and shoot it. But the Walker, and then the later Dragoons and the 1860 Armies had a longer grip frame than the 1851 Navies, and then later the single action Army, and even a lot of the newer pistols that are based on that. This isn't exactly the same as like say the 1860 Army, and so I think it's a little different. I think there's it's a little thinner here and then a little wider at the bottom than the Dragoon. But if you can see, I've got pretty big hands. So like on an 1851 Navy or single action Army, I just grip it with these two fingers around and then my pinkies under to get the grip that I want. Now, there were some of the old 3-screw Rugers that had like 44 mags that had the longer, what I would refer to as the 1860 Army grip. But what I have found, I've watched different videos and listened to different cowboy action shooter guys, and I like the Walker's grip. Now, obviously, if you went into like the, let's see, the Ruger Bisley grip frame, which actually is more like Elmer Keith's number 5 grip than the actual Colt Bisley, but that's a story for another time. One thing, it's a little thicker up here, and then obviously you can get all 3 of your fingers around it. But so I do prefer that with my bigger hands. Trouble is with the single action Army or the Navy grip, a lot of people tend to choke up too much like this, and then if you're trying to run the hammer with your offside thumb, it binds up on the webbing right here between your thumb and trigger finger. So this is a good way, shooting cap and ball is a good way to kind of get your grip down. So I try to hold it fairly low, and let's see, come around to this side, you can see better. But some people have their offhand trigger finger in front of the trigger guard, which I guess is all right. I tend not to. I guess I take that back. I tend to have my offside trigger finger in front of the trigger guard. I've been told that's wrong on like a modern semi-automatic. So that gets me to where I try to not have this index finger ahead of the trigger guard, but for for single actions, I feel like if it's ahead of the trigger guard, both thumbs pointed downrange, you know, straight. I've heard some people say more like this, but you know, it's the gun is, and now you can't even see it, but it's straight elbow, wrist, gun. And come up. Now, I don't usually lock both elbows. I know some people say you're supposed to. I tend to just lock my right elbow, and which I've heard is called the Weaver stance. Oh, this thing's so big and heavy. But anyway, that's, I guess, what I can say about this pistol. I might even, I'll probably load up a round on camera here so you guys can see how that's done. Alrighty, so here the shooting table here, got some gunpowder. That's 3F Pyrex or Pyrex P. We got the powder measure. We got 0.457 round balls, which, you know, they call this a 44 caliber, but it's almost a 46. Now when you shave it down, and the way they, back in 1847, they measured from the lands, and that's how they got caliber or something. Anyway, it was different, but they called it a 44. And we got some number 10 percussion caps, and we got some lube to go over the end of the ball. So, the way to load these is you bring it to half cock. That frees up the cylinder. And like I said, I know I'm probably being Captain Obvious, but with a lot of this stuff for a lot of people, but there are people that watch my channel that that don't know about this stuff. So I set the powder measure at 40 grains. You can load 60, but I'm just gonna be kind of easy on this thing. I've put a couple hundred rounds through this thing, and I think, and it's starting to where I'm getting weak hammer strikes and won't go off. So I'm kind of wondering why that is. Now this tube here is a 30 grains. So if you use 2 of them per chamber, you can get 60, and I do that a lot. It's quick, but I'm kind of going with a light load of just 40 grains here to kind of keep life simple. All right, so cylinder's free. We pour the gunpowder into the chamber. Then we take a ball, set that over said chamber. We rotate the cylinder so that now the ramrod is, it's kind of convex, I guess. So it fits around that ball nice. Press it down, give it a couple extra to make sure. And then I tend to come back the way. I got my nice, I don't know if you can see it, ring of lead. It broke, but anyway. So that is how that loading procedure is done. I'm going to do, well, I guess I could do it. I'll do that later. I'm going to do, let's see. I think I'll do all 6 just to keep things fun here. But I'll do that off camera. All right, so now I got all 6 chambers loaded up. I'm gonna go into the safety of that. On the Walker, now on like the 1851 Navy, the New Model Army, 1860 Army, they have pins or notches in between each chamber. The Walker only has 1 pin. I found it. So the idea is you can let the hammer down on it and it locks so it can't go back and forth. And your hammer's not resting on a primer or a cap. For shooting at the range, I think that's fine. But that pin is there's not much there. And now you've exposed this primer to anything. And again, you know, if you're saddling up your horse, if you're actually carrying this in the field, which it's not my first choice, but again, better than a rock. You know, a stirrup or something could hit this and boom, you are gonna have issues. So yes, if I was to carry a cap and ball revolver in the field, I would carry with just 5. But since we are just here at the range, I loaded up all 6. Now, traditionally, back in the day when cap and ball 6 guns were state of the art, they shot a lot of conical bullets. Actually, the original bullet for the Walker was, I forget the name of it, but it was a conical style bullet. And it wasn't heeled, meaning it wasn't like tapered on the end that would sit against the powder. So it was a kind of a bugger to get in there, and troops in combat, so they would put the conical end down, which caused overpressure, and that's one of the theories of why about 1/3 of Colt Walkers that saw action, the cylinders exploded. And then there's the theory that 60 grains was too much. I tend to go with the theory that they were putting the bullets in backwards, but now there was many, but they did put grease over the end. Theories on that were it was to prevent chain fires. I don't really think it's that. The ring of lead, you get a good seal in the ball, that's gonna keep flame from going in there. More, I think it was to kind of season the barrel and just make cleaning a lot easier. I have fired this thing without lubing the balls over the end, and it's way harder to clean. So back in the day, they used beeswax and lamb's towel mixture, which you can still get from a guy on YouTube here called Guns of the West. I'm cheap, I don't have that. Crisco is another one, which I use a lot, and I forgot to pick some up, but I do have this. This is similar to, this is Tradition's 1000 Lube Plus. Basically the same thing as Thompson Center Boar Butter. But we'll bring it back to half cock and squeeze some of that out right down into the chamber. And this stuff, I left it in the pickup last summer and it melted, and that's the worst thing about this stuff. It melts bad, but I don't know, you can kind of see, but I just smeared it over the end there. So I'll do the other 5 and we'll go. Okay, so now we got them all loaded, we got them all greased, and some messy stuff. Now if I can get my percussion caps open, these are number 10 caps now. Oh boy, and everything's all greasy. I don't want to make it too much of a fool out of myself, so I'm gonna try to get this open off camera. All right, well, I got it open off camera. Now, there's cappers that you can get. Little deals for, you know, you push forward and all that, but I'm cheap, so I just use my fingers. This might take me a while. So, but you know, the number 10s, they stay on there. I have shot this thing with number 11s, which you can do. Your chances of a chain fire go up, meaning cap falls off, the spark from the one you just fired can jump to one that doesn't have one, and then you have more than one cylinder or chamber go off, which is not good. So that's why if you can't find number 10 caps, you probably shouldn't be shooting it. Now there, obviously I kind of pushed it on with that powder measure a little bit. Don't push too hard, or you will go boom. Again, we're just at the range, so you know, I'm not carrying it in the field, so it's not like I need to have these things super tight. On there, and they're, you know, boy, look at that one. That one there. That one didn't want to go on. And I have grease all over my hand from the chambers, so I'm gonna find the pin. There it is. It's locked on. Put it in the holster, which is wrong holster, but finding a holster for the Walker is a bugger. It's just so huge. All right, well, I'll set up camera and we'll start shooting. All righty. So downrange, I got a bunch of plastic dinner plates. They're old and nasty. I was never going to eat off of them. And I found them in an old shed. But they're kind of fun to shoot. They don't really explode like I thought they would, but I'm going to grab my ears. Even though I don't have much to protect. But got to protect what's left. So we're not shooting over a chronograph or anything. We're just shooting the Walker, having a little fun. I think I might have missed. One thing I forgot to mention, Walkers have a tendency to shoot high because they were actually made to shoot 100 yards originally. That's why I have such a low front sight. I had a little burst back here, so that tells me that the reason I'm getting the weak hammer strikes is my mainspring is wore. Now we're going to go for the old style cavalry cock, where we hold it up and cock it. And the dang cap was right there on the hammer. Ah, weak hammer strike. Try this again. I think I missed. And I see, yeah, Oh boy. Now I can't get it to. Oh boy, that's a bugger. Oh, the cap is stuck in here, so it won't go around. Boy, if you were in a fight, this would not be good. All right. Try this again. Ah, come on. Oh. I don't know if I've hit those plates. But yeah, I wonder if I can show this on camera. You can see that the hammer is coming back. So there's enough of a, and this is a light charge, 40 grains of 3F. And it's pushing the hammer back, which is telling me that the mainspring is wore or loose. And so the cap was on the face of the hammer. I think there's two or three left. So we'll try it again here. Whoa, there we got the plates. Okay, that one has already gone off. We'll try it at the target here. Ooh. All right. So I guess when you got a weak hammer, now that one went all the way down. If you got a weak hammer spring, mainspring, all you gotta do is you just gotta keep firing. Just keep cocking the hammer and squeezing off, and you'll get all six eventually. But this will be something I'll have to replace. Like I said, I've shot this gun, well, oh shoot, I bet you over 300 times. So, and nothing against, I don't want to be too critical of Uberti, but they're not exactly known for the strongest mainsprings. But let's go take a look at those plates. Well, here we go. I think there was 6 or something. Funny thing was, I shot these with the 30-30 the other day, and I just put a hole in them. And yep, 4.57 round ball. It exploded them. So now I got a mess to clean up. That looks like the first one. Second one. Whoa. Third one just got a hole. Fourth one fell apart. That's the third one. Fifth exploded. Here's 6 or 5. 6 and 7. It blew the. Yeah, that 4.57 really did a number on them. Well, there you have it, folks. That's the Colt Walker. A lot of fun to go out and shoot, and you know, they're getting expensive. I think I bought this before COVID, so they were a lot cheaper back then. But now, shoot, you look on Midway and they're damn near $600. But you know, if you can learn to shoot this well, it'll make you better with all your other 6-shooters, because it's so heavy. The darn thing weighs like 4.5 pounds, I think. You know, it's got a 9-inch barrel. When I first picked this thing up, I was just like, whoa, man. And when I show it to people, if the first thing they say is, "Oh, that some bitch is heavy." And, but if you learn to shoot them well, it helps you shooting modern cartridge 6 guns. So there you have it. That's the Colt Walker. I'm Pete Refshaw with Refshaw Outdoors. And keep your powder dry.